Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
We're in Los Angeles. A win last night for the D-backs was their first at Dodger Stadium since last September. And a chance tonight to make it 2 straight and keep that Dodgers magic number right at 7. Another magic number here tonight, 88. It's Tommy Lasorda's birthday, and what better gift than a D-backs win? Wait, what? It's the D-backs and the Dodgers on Fox Sports Arizona. And good evening from Dodger Stadium. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. The D-backs' second of a 4-game series here in L.A. They had a plan of attack last night against lefty Brent Anderson. It worked very well. Here's Chip Hale with more on that.
We attacked him early when the ball was up, and we were able to get some home runs and some very hard-hit balls. So we wanted to be relentless. We wanted to keep after him, even after scoring a couple runs. You know, we know in this ballpark they're always going to come back. We talked about we had to take advantage of pitches he made mistakes on. And instead of taking it for, strike one or even a ball if it was up, if we could handle it, we wanted to get it. So I thought they did a nice job.
And, Bob, last night, Brent Anderson cooperated. A lot of pitches left up and hittable.
As a coaching staff and a manager, nothing is more gratifying than doing all the homework, studying the video, studying the numbers, and coming up with a game plan. And it worked to perfection last night. The players bought into it. And tonight against Alex Wood, you figure to see a lot of the same. Alex Wood, a sinker, curveball, changeup pitcher, tries to keep the ball down. Diamondbacks were able to get to him at Chase Field not too long ago. Hopefully the same plan of attack against him as they had against Brent Anderson last night.
Yeah, they face a lefty here for the second time in this series. The Dodgers will start left-handed pitchers in 3 of the 4 games here. D-backs counter with a lefty of their own in Robbie Ray. Some heads-up outfield defense, a key to the ball game last night. Diamondbacks going for 2 straight here at Dodger Stadium. More after this. Gigablast. How will you live the gig life? By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Jack in the Box. Taste the new spicy nacho chicken sandwich munchie meal tonight. Only at Jack in the Box.
As if on script, another picture-perfect night for baseball here in Southern California. Let's bring it back to Dodger Stadium. Our exclusive coverage of Diamondbacks baseball continues in Fox Sports Arizona. Todd Walsh inside the dugout. Steve and Bob just talked about the 17 hits and the 8 runs we saw last night. The offense was clicking. The pitching was solid as well, from the starters all the way through to the bullpen. But there was one other aspect. It was defense, in particular in the outfield. Left, center, and right field, as Bob Brenly pointed out. A.J. Pollock really taking charge of the situation.
It's nice having a guy in right field and a guy in left field that communicate well, and they get the balls too. So I have more confidence. Being aggressive on certain balls, I think I can make a play on. So it's a long season. Some days you feel really good leg wise, and some days you're not as quick. So. When I'm feeling good, I try to take advantage of that, especially in the outfield. You got a lot of space to run around.
If you watch Ender, he saved a run early by cutting that ball off and getting it into the cutoff man, made the third base coach hold the runner. That was huge early on when it seemed like things were going to go awry. AJ, of course, going from right center all the way into left field basically to catch balls, and Tomas made a great play down the left field line. So our outfield's played extremely well all year, and, of course, AJ's the leader out there.
There is no question about that. Great point by Bob Brenly last night. You have to have every facet of your game clicking in high gear here at Dodger Stadium to come up with a win. That's exactly what the Diamondbacks did in Game 1 tonight. They'll look to do the same in Game 2. Game 2 of 4, in fact. And when we come back, Steve Latham and Bob Brenly have the call. Diamondbacks and Dodgers next.
Dating back to last year, they opened up this 4-game visit with an 8-4 win, and tonight a chance to make it 2 straight here with 2 more to play in the season series against the boys in blue. And your Arizona Ford starter for LA, 24-year-old lefty Alex Wood, who follows up a rough night last night for Brett Anderson. Here's Turner Ward.
It's a very similar type of pitcher as far as a guy who likes to keep the ball down, a guy who got some little late movement. We got to him last time. He left some balls up in the zone. And so, if he does that again tonight, hopefully you guys will be ready and make him pay.
Alex Wood, acquired from Atlanta at the trade deadline, 3.63 ERA and 29 starts. The Dodgers have won just 4 of his 9 starts this year.
Now, 2 starts ago against the Diamondbacks, he was at the bottom of the valley. An inning and 2/3, gave up 8 hits and 8 runs in that ball game, but followed that up with the top of the mountain. 8 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball against the Rockies. So he's seen both extremes in his last 2 starts.
He's kind of pitched like that. He has alternated wins and losses 4 times since arriving from the Braves. And he's even on the leadoff man, Nick Ahmed. And we are underway with Hunter Wendelstedt, the crew chief, behind the plates. Chip Hale told us today he's got Nick leading off tonight against the left-hander because he wanted to split off days for his lefty hitters, Inciarte and Peralta. And with Peralta in there tonight, it's Ender who gets the night off, and so it's Ahmed and Owings up top, and that allows Chip to keep Pollock and Goldie at 3 and 4. Nick at 225, he's got 9 home runs. He was up there taking some big-time hacks at Alex Wood.
Well, we played that sound from Chip in the open of the show, talking about going after Brett Anderson last night, seeing the ball up in the zone, even if it was out of the zone up. Really commit to attacking pitches up there around the belt or above, and the team followed his directions to a T last night.
And of course, Wood has that very herky-jerky, deceptive delivery where he just kind of sticks the ball out there with that hand almost behind his leg. Comes at you from different directions. Nick had a good day at the plate last night. A couple of singles and a base on balls. 2-2 pitch. It's full.
I talked about Wood's last 2 outings. The one against the Diamondbacks, he went an inning and 2/3 through 62 pitches. In the second inning of that ball game, last time out against the Rockies, he only threw 78 pitches for 8 full innings. Which one will show up tonight?
Called strike 3. Rings up Ahmed. 1 away. Mentioned he has alternated wins and losses 4 times since he came over from Atlanta. And very different results here in his last 3 starts.
Really nothing tricky about his arsenal. He'll throw a sinking fastball, a big curveball, a straight changeup. It's more about the deception that you mentioned, that herky-jerky delivery. Very tough to pick up the baseball, at least the first time through the order, till you get a good look at it.
Chris Owings in the 2-hole tonight, 238 and 4 home runs. Chip Hale was talking about Alex Wood before the ball game today and said this is a young guy who's a good pitcher, a legitimate number 2 or 3 big league starter. Just 24 years old. Fights it off and carves it out to right field. Van Slyke runs it down 2 away. Take a look at the lineup for Chip Hale's D-backs tonight.
As Steve mentioned, a little different look tonight with Nick Ahmed leading off at shortstop, Chris Owings at second base, A.J. Pollock once again in the 3-hole. He'll be out in center field. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Jared Saltalamacchia doing the catching tonight and tomorrow night to give Wellington Castillo a little bit of a blow. Yasmani Tomas in right, David Peralta in left, Brandon Drury at third base, and Robbie Ray, the lefty, on the mound.
A.J. Pollock in the 3-hole for the second night in a row. First pitch swing, and Van Slyke one more time. He can run him down out there for a big guy. And Alex Wood works a 1-2-3 first, just underway at Dodger Stadium. Diamondbacks and the Dodgers. Here's Robbie Ray next. Diamondbacks tonight, a loss in his previous start against the Padres. The pitch count problem that has plagued Robbie all year grew worse. 102 pitches. He failed to complete 5 innings. His pitching coach is Mike Harkey.
I've wanted that the whole year, but he seems to have created a little pattern, and it takes him a lot of pitches to get outs. And, you know, he's just got to keep plugging away and keep us in the ball game for as long as he can keep us in the ball game. And if it's 5 innings, then it's 5 innings. We have to make the adjustment to, you know, what he's capable of doing.
And the numbers on Robbie as he is in there against Justin Ruggiano to lead it off. Getting more and more troubling. The trends have continued. As Mike mentioned, it's about patterns. In his last 12 starts, Robbie has lasted more than 5 innings, only 4 times. Ruggiano bounces one in the hole off the glove of Drury and Ahmed. A hot smash in the 5-5 hole, and Ruggiano's aboard to lead it off.
Looked like Nick might be able to make a play on the recovery here. That ball hits off the thumb of Brandon Drury's glove, pops up in the air. Nick Ahmed on his way over to back up the play, got a glove on it but couldn't grab it in time to make a throw to first base.
That hit 2 gloves and it's still a base hit. Ruggiano at first. Howie Kendrick. 294 and 9 home runs. Kendrick batting cleanup last night. Is in there in the 2-hole tonight. Much different look to Don Mattingly's lineup in the second game of the 4-game series. Mentioned Robbie trying to be more accurate, more efficient. He's walked at least 3 batters in a ball game 8 times in his last dozen starts. And in those last 12 starts, he's won only once. 1-1. Chip Hale told us before the ball game today Robbie could be on a pitch count of 110 to 115 tonight. They want him to throw that many pitches here. Get up that high, get deep into the ball game. Because as Chip said, they believe Robbie can be part of next year's rotation. And as he put it, a big part. But he needs to show he can be a 6 or 7 inning guy every 5th day here at the big league level. So they are giving him a wide berth here tonight, and he needs to take advantage. Two and one on Howie Kendrick. The lineup for Don Mattingly's LA Dodgers on Tommy Lasorda's 88th birthday.
Justin Ruggiano in left field, only 88.
Yeah.
Howie Kendrick at second base, Adrian Gonzalez at first base, Scott Van Slyke out in right with Corey Seager at short, A.J. Ellis doing the catching, Chris Heisey in center field tonight, Alex Guerrero at third, and Alex Wood on the mound. Mattingly
looking for right-hand bats against Robbie Ray after he loaded up with lefties last night against Elise Chacin. 3-2. Gonzalez homered in his first at bat last night. He's on deck. Ruggiano takes off. It's a roller to Goldie. He knocks it down and it rolls into no man's land. That's 2 base hits off 3 Diamondback gloves.
About that.
First baseman number 23,
Howie Kendrick doing what we expected him to do, trying to shoot that hole on the right side of the infield with the runner in motion. Gets jammed. That might have to be an error, even though Goldie went to his right. Tough backhanded play. It wasn't hit that hard. Nice easy hop. Just skips off the glove over toward the second base position. Chris Owings had broken to cover the bag on the steal attempt.
And that is indeed E3. No base hit for Kendrick. The error on Goldie. 2 on, nobody out. Adrian Gonzalez at 281 and 28 homers. He's got 87 RBIs. No other Dodger has more than 55, so he has been by far the biggest run-producing bat in this lineup. There's a bouncer. Goldie's got this one. He'll get one.
Right fielder, number 33, Scott Van Slyke.
So second and third, one away for Scott Van Slyke. Batting cleanup tonight, the big right-hand hitter. At 245, he's got 6 home runs. Van Slyke homered in their loss to the Pirates here on Sunday. He is 2 for his last 18 at the plate. Out. Whew. This is Scott Van Slyke Sunday against the Buccos. Off Garrett Cole.
Oh, Van Slyke, as you can clearly see, long and lanky, long arms, tremendous plate coverage. Occasionally you can jam him in on the hands because of those long arms and that long swing, but boy, when he gets the barrel on the ball, he can hit it a long way.
It's a big dude, 6'5", 220. That one will roll foul. Robbie makes sure of it.
Perfect pitch right in on the hands there. Sometimes body type alone will tell you how to pitch a guy, and when you've got a guy like Scott Van Slyke standing close to the plate with those long arms and that big long bat, he's going to have trouble getting around on inside fastballs as long as you locate him in there.
Diamondbacks with the infield back, 0-2 on Van Slyke. Got him. Big strikeout for Robbie Ray.
Good slider down and in that time.
Shortstop, number 5, Corey Seager.
Good spot for him. Now you got to deal with Corey Seager. It's been almost impossible to get this guy out. Hitting .377 through his first 17 major league games. 10 extra base hits, 11 walks, and 11 RBIs. And a double, a walk, and an RBI last night. Boy, if Robbie could strand those 2 runners, that would be a major bullet dodged. Diamondbacks, as everyone has, have had their issues with young Corey Seager, the 21-year-old rookie.
Guy does present some challenges for a young player. He's hitting really good against left-handed pitching as well. .308 against lefties, hitting over .400 against right-handed pitching.
His first Dodger Stadium home run was off a lefty here Friday, the Pirates' Jeff Locke. This was Corey Seager, the first of what will likely be many home runs in this ballpark. Two-one pitch.
Seems kind of odd to say this, but with the base open, you don't really have to give in to Corey Seager, even though he's a left-handed hitter. A.J. Ellis in the on-deck circle, certainly a capable hitter, but not the same dangerous hitter as the guy at the plate right now. I think the Diamondbacks are just going to go ahead and walk him. How often do you see a left-handed pitcher walk a left-handed hitter to get to a righty?
Well, the way that young Seager has swung the bat, why mess around? Ellis is playing sporadically at best these days. So they load him up and work to the righty with 2 outs.
Normally, A.J. Ellis, one of the more patient hitters in all of baseball, sees as many pitches per plate appearance as just about anybody else. But with runners in scoring position, he's likely to be a lot more aggressive in this situation.
In the seats and out of play. A.J. Ellis has played a much more prominent role during the second half of the year. Yasmani Grandal banged up and slumping despite the home run last night. He's at .236 for the year, but that was about $170 at the end of June. He's really picked up the pace the last 3 months. Jam shot behind the bag, and Robbie Ray leaves them loaded. Very good job by Robbie right there to keep the game scoreless in L.A.
Ball game tonight. We talked about it already tonight at length. Stick to the game plan. Look for something up in the zone. Be ready to jump on it when Wood makes those mistakes. And for Robbie Ray, hey, try to miss some bats. You know, we've talked about this at length as well. Just gets to 2 strikes, can't seem to put hitters away. Either elevate it a little bit more or try to keep it down a little bit more. Stay out of that middle.
Goldie leads off the second against Alex Wood. 316 and 29 home runs, now 101 RBIs. Goldie last night 2 for 4, a home run, couple of walks, his first game in the cleanup spot in more than 2 years. And he's back in there tonight. This one clanged off the foul pole and left.
A fast home run to left field.
Boy, that sound. Oh, that Goldie sound. Three and one. He has torn up this ballpark his whole career. This season alone, Goldie 13 for 28 at Dodger Stadium. 358 for the career with 11 home runs.
Oh, man.
He's homered 3 times in 7 games here this season.
"33 games, 11 home runs." I mean, I'm not great at math, but that means he's homering 1 out of every 3 games on average. So every series you come in here, Goldie's going to hit a home run.
Seems like it, doesn't it? Seems like more like every night. Hunter Wendelstedt says strike 3, second strikeout for Wood, both looking.
Not so sure about that one. No argument from Goldie. Of course, it would be to no avail, but sure looked like that ball was out of the zone.
Jared Saltalamacchia will bat from the right-hand side against the lefty Wood. Salty with 4 homers, 8 RBIs in his last 7 games. Chip Hale said, as Bob mentioned earlier, he is splitting up his catchers in this series. Wellington Castillo started last night. Salty will start tonight and tomorrow. And then Welly in the series finale Thursday afternoon. That is Corbin versus Kershaw. Dodgers overload the left-hand side against Salty. He hits right into it. Seager at shortstop. Five up, 5 down for Wood.
Right fielder number 24, Yasmani Tomas.
One of the home run hitters from last night back in there tonight, Yasmani Tomas.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations. And somebody can claim mine.
Wow, that had to hurt. Yasmani 282, now 9 homers. This one last night was a no-doubter. He jumped on it. It's a nice, easy swing.
Yasmani looks like he's got a little bit more bat speed going last couple of days. His bat had really slowed down for a long stretch over the last 3 weeks, but last night and that last swing, it looks like he's getting that bat going a little bit.
Yeah, 282 for the year, but he's been 60 points below that since the All-Star break. Two and two. Did you get Tommy Lasorda anything?
Same thing I got him the other 87 years.
So it worked out then. Tommy was on the field before the ball game. They had a cake for him with 1 candle.
It's fire hazard, for crying out loud.
Well, there's a drought on. He drops that one over the head of Gonzalez. Tomas is going to hustle into second, and that was a mistake. And Slight picked it up along that right field line. He is among the major league leaders in outfield assists this year. And Yasmani runs into an out to end the top of the second. This was Tommy Lasorda in his Dodger blue before the ball game. Bottom 2 coming up. Make a wish.
He wants to cut the cake.
Eager on the bases, runs into an out to end the top of the second. Van Slyke is very underrated as a defensive outfielder. He's, as we mentioned, among the league leaders in outfield assists, and he picked up one more there.
It seems like we bring it up every time we play against the Dodgers, but talking to Oral Hershiser earlier this season, I just point blank asked him, can Scott Van Slyke be an everyday outfielder in the big leagues? He said absolutely. And plays like this make you believe it. Little jam shot over the head of Adrian Gonzalez. Play is right in front of Yasmani Tomas. Oh, brother. Not sure what he was thinking about right there.
Suppose he lost sight of the baseball?
I don't know. Maybe when it went into Van Slyke's glove.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
Or his beard. Chris Heisey, the former Cincinnati Red. Let's see. He's looking at the play the entire time. Robbie Ray behind immediately. 3-1, and Heisey knocks it into left. A base hit. Not the formula for success, falling behind in the count, and then the leadoff single.
Third baseman, number 7, Alex Guerrero.
Second hit for the Dodgers. Here's the third baseman, Alex Guerrero. .228 and 11 home runs. He flied out as a pinch hitter last night. Just his 16th start this year at third base. Came up as a shortstop in Cuba. They had Chase Utley over there last night in for the injured Justin Turner. Utley not in there tonight against the lefty Ray. It's Alex Guerrero instead. Turner's got a sore knee. There's Chase Utley, who made his first ever major league appearance in starting last night's game at third.
You need a Brinks truck to deliver those three guys check.
How about that, huh? Some pretty decent experience in that row. They got a Brinks truck here. They got a couple of them. Just back them up.
They got a printing press somewhere in this ballpark. Obviously, they're just making money.
Prince blue money. Guerrero 3 for his last 23 up there. His bat has all but vanished really since the middle of June. And the playing time is going away quickly. They've loaded up on other guys. Utley, Seager's here playing shortstop now. They've added some outfield pieces. All of those guys have taken the bats away from Guerrero. Two and two. Called strike 3. Gets Guerrero looking. Second strikeout for Robbie Ray.
Pitcher number 57, Alex Wood.
Drives it right down there to the bottom of the strike zone. Good pitch. Not sure exactly what Guerrero was looking for, but Robbie Ray able to sneak it by him for a called strike 3.
Now with one out, Brandon Drury, the rookie, will come in at third. And here's the pitcher, Alex Wood. It's the bunt down. Robbie Ray's on it. See Saltalamacchia directing traffic. Drury, the rookie, had come well in and left third base completely unoccupied, so Brandon had to scamper back to the bag.
Didn't look real comfortable, but an effective job that time by Alex Wood. Deadens that ball on the right side of the infield. And yeah, you could see Jared Saltalamacchia pointing down to the bag. Somebody get there. Brandon Drury reversed engines and hustled back to the bag to make sure that Heisey didn't try to go first to third on a sac bunt.
He's at second, 2 down now. The leadoff man, Justin Ruggiano, a base hit his first time up, an infield single. Got to be careful. This guy's got good power. Just 14 games with LA this year, but he's had 3 homers and 11 RBIs. He's hitting over 350 with the Dodgers this year. Came over from Seattle August 31st. Good job. Robbie gets ahead here 0-2. That's just what you're looking for. It's cooling off a bit now. It was again very muggy today here in LA. There's almost no wind to speak of right now. You can see almost nothing from the flags in center. Right out there with the Death Star.
The flags move when anybody talks over the PA system.
Well, when they turn on the PA system, the entire ballpark shakes, so that works out. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Robbie Ray. He strands Heisey at second. And there's no score here in LA.
Like that, you just got to treat it like baseball at the end of the day, because you don't want to put that pressure and overthink the game. You just got to play because it is the same game, and just enjoy it and learn.
Still kind of mind-boggling, though, isn't it? And you're here, and you're in uniform, and you're contributing.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you know, I grew up coming to games here with my dad, sitting in the stands watching, so to be out there, it's definitely surreal.
Todd Walsh back here at Dodger Stadium. Bob, he's making his mark here. A kid that used to come to games and watch them. I just think that's such a fascinating story and a cool story, and I love sharing it.
It really is. I mean, the difference is sitting in the stands looking down at the playing field is one thing, but when you're down on the playing field, that can be an intimidating sight for a young player.
Whew. Usually you only worry about 3 decks. They got 4 here. David Peralta leads off the 3rd.
Hey, by the way, I got to run, but Steve and Bob, they're serving Tommy Lasorda's birthday cake in the media room. I know
really?
a guy.
Are they really?
Yeah.
I don't know if Bob can have a piece of that just on principle.
No, I just can't.
You know what? I'll have yours.
Go ahead.
There you go.
Knock yourself out.
Okay. There's no blue in it. I think they kind of messed up.
The whole cake was blue, wasn't it?
No. Not at least not the 5 slices I had.
Good, nice. There you go.
Vanilla.
Peralta waves at that one on an 0-2 pitch. He strikes out. 3 strikeouts for Alex Wood.
Well, I don't recall the culprits, but I do recall the story back in the day. Somebody from the Yankees was having a birthday, and one of his teammates left a little birthday present on top of the cake. So I think I'll stay away from all birthday cakes.
Sparky Lyle, I believe.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
That was his trademark, the cake sit. He would sit on the cake when he was undressing.
There's an art form to that. I got to run. Steve, did you need a slice?
On that thought, go have some cake.
Would you like?
No, I'm good.
You sure?
Everybody's
good?
I can't have a piece of Dodger cake. I'm sorry. I just can't do it.
You guys are drawing a line in the dirt. I like it.
Got to draw it somewhere.
Okay.
Brandon Drury, here he is. And boy, for a guy that said he wasn't all that nervous, you believe him watching the way he played last night. 3 for 5, a double and an RBI, getting the start at third base and back in there tonight. I believe Todd had some of the cake sent to the truck. The boys in the truck are having some Tommy cake right now.
I know they'll have no problem wolfing down dessert.
A high chopper to third. Guerrero. Look at Brandon Drury last night starting at third base and had the best night of his young career so far.
What's new? Line drive up the middle. Seems like that starts everything for Brandon Drury. Another one, this time to the right of straightaway center field. Rolls all the way to the wall, and then a little blooper that fell in. And when your swing is good, you'll get rewarded occasionally on those jam shots or balls you hit off the end of the bat. Brandon was locked in last night.
He also busted it up that first base line to avoid a double play and get an RBI. Keep an inning alive and get a run home. 0-2 on Robbie Ray. Alex Wood, a 10-pitch first, a 15-pitch second. And he's making short work of the Diamondbacks here. In the third, goes for the backhand Ole catch. Almost throws it over Gonzalez's head, but he gets the 1-2-3 inning. Tried to get a little too fancy on that one, but it worked out. Bottom three from LA, no score. D-backs and Dodgers. All right, that's Gar Inez, known on the internet as the batting stance guy. There's Gar. And the guy on the left, his last name is Hale, and he's at the Diamondback dugout. That is Tony Hale. Now, if you're a fan of the HBO show Veep with Julia Louis-Dreyfus, he's Gary the Bagman. And Gary the Bagman, or Tony Hale, threw out the first pitch before the ball game. I talked to him a little bit. He was frankly a nervous wreck. And I said, you're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. But then when I saw him throw the pitch, I understood why he was so terrified. Because, frankly, it was a disaster.
Yeah, justifiably nervous. That was a horrible first pitch.
I mean, if you watch Veep, imagine how his character, Gary, would throw out the pitch. He'd be scared to death, just like he is on the show all the time. And Tony, it wasn't great.
They might have been filming it for a future episode of Veep. We don't know. Maybe he's a really good baseball player.
Well, he came to the game with Gar, and of course Gar can imitate any batting stance. So he wanted some kind of a baseball guy to help him, and they warmed up. He had a glove. He was warming up an hour and a half before the game, and
overtrained.
Yeah. Howie Kendrick.
You know, Gar does a Bob Brenly.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh,
I saw him in the Midwest League several years ago when my son was playing in the minor leagues. This was the first pitch, heads up.
Oh, Gary.
And, Gar, between innings, would jump down on the field, and the PA announcer would shout out names, and he'd do the impersonation as Kendrick goes down on strikes. And at one point, the guy called out, he's in the house tonight, Bob Brenly. Gar, do you do a Bob Brenly? And it was pretty good.
All right, I'm going to text him and get him to do it. Let's see if he answers.
Now, it was a tad over-exaggerated, which is part of what makes his impersonation so good, but he was pretty close.
Adrian Gonzalez. I got to see this. Hold on, I'm going to get him on the phone. Gonzalez grounded out his first time up. Shift is on.
Digging for it right now. He's reading.
All right, he's reading the text. Get up.
He's looking in the wrong area. Over here by Vin.
All right, he's looking up here. Give me the Brenly. Is that you?
Well, except I didn't have a hot dog in my mouth at the time.
That's nice work. Let's see if Salty runs out of room here. And he does.
He's carved out a nice niche for himself. You know, that batting practice or batting stance impersonator, going around to minor league ballparks, appearing on a lot of the sports shows on television.
Oh yeah, the players love him.
Oh yeah.
He'll go into clubhouses, and they'll close the clubhouse. He'll do everybody in the room, and guys are crying, laughing at each other.
That's pretty good.
How about Robbie Ray? It's Gonzalez to wave at that one. He's now struck out for the last 5 he's faced.
Boy, doing a nice job of driving that ball down to the bottom of the zone. I mentioned it in that second inning when he struck out Alex Guerrero, driving a pitch down to the knees, and once again right there on Adrian Gonzalez. Got that good downward plane going.
Scott Van Slyke.
Tall mound here at Dodger Stadium.
What does that mean?
Well, for years, the Dodgers have been accused of building the mound up just a little bit higher than it's allowed, although the umpires come in and check those things before every series. So I got to believe they're within the rules. It just seems like the pitcher is throwing off the top of a mountain when you're standing in that batter's box.
You come in here, all the little conspiracy theories trickle down.
Yeah, they bubble right back to the surface.
Reaches out and rolls it into right center. A base hit for Van Slyke.
Number 5, Corey Seager.
If you get Scott Van Slyke taking swings like that, you'll give up a base hit to the opposite field from time to time. Kind of a defensive swing there. Just flicked it past Chris Owings into right center field for a base hit.
Corey Seager now. Given an intentional walk his first time up after Robbie fell behind in the count. They decided to load the bases, pitch to A.J. Ellis, and it worked out. Robbie got him to pop up, leave him loaded, and the first. Got a message here from a batting stance guy, Gar Ryness, after his triumphant Bob Brenly imitation. It says, tell BB no player was a better interview or funnier growing up in the Bay Area in the 1980s.
Oh, it's nice. Very nice. It's because nobody else would talk to the media.
96 right by Seager, and Robbie's ahead 1-2. He is really settling in nicely now. 50 pitches, 33 strikes, just what you're looking for.
You can't really see conviction, but if you could, it would look like Robbie Ray tonight. It looks like he's really committed to his pitches, really finishing his pitches. It's like he has a little more confidence that he can get the ball where he wants it tonight.
Well, we've seen him. He's got the stuff. It's there. But you're right. He does. He has a different persona out there tonight. There's no question about it. And Chip told us last week, and you just watched that pitch count quickly skyrocket out of control. It's something that Robbie has got to improve on, because you end up as infielders and outfielders standing out there pitch after pitch, and then people wonder why the Diamondbacks don't score a lot of runs when Robbie pitches. Well, guys are tired from standing around, but that has not been the case tonight. Did he check? Yes, he did. 2-2. Rolls it to shortstop. Nick Ahmed. Robbie Ray through 3. One more look at Gar Inez, batting stance guy, and Tony Hale, Emmy winner. We're here in LA, no score. Walsh with you. Diamondbacks only one hit against Alex Wood the first time through the order. And now the leadoff man, Nick Ahmed, leads off the 4th. Nick struck out looking his first time up. Coming off a good day at the plate here last night. A couple of singles, a base on balls.
Now you saw that little peek out of the corner of his eye right there. That's about the last thing Nick Ahmed does before he gets in the batter's box. Just a quick look to see where the third baseman is positioned. And last night when Chase Utley was playing down there at third base, every Diamondbacks hitter had some opportunities to possibly drop down a bunt, but didn't see one.
That is a fair ball. He blisters it by Guerrero at third. It's in the corner. And Nick Ahmed is in at second base. A leadoff double for Nick. His 17th double. Well, he has really had a good month, Bob, at the plate, Nick Ahmed. That is his 10th extra base hit here in September. By the way, the Gar-Ines Bob Brenly imitation, we just to authenticate it, here's a look.
Yeah. That was the Rich Dotson spitball he struck me out on in the All-Star game.
Chris Owings. Pretty good imitation, though.
Yeah. Especially the swing and miss part at the end.
Guerrero in, and sure enough, Owings bunts. Ahmed in at third. Ooh, CO made that close. (5-3) on the sacrifice.
Number 11, AJ.
I like that. Chip Hale, I think, giving the liberty to guys who bunt for base hits like Chris Owings, like Nick Ahmed, like A.J. Pollock in a sack situation. Instead of just squaring around and giving up the out, go ahead and try to beat it out. Nice bunt that time. Better play by Alex Guerrero.
So Ahmed is at third base, one down. And here's A.J. Pollock. A.J. flied out to right his first time up. A.J. begins tonight, 5th in the National League in hitting at .320. He's now down to .319. 2 more hits last night, both doubles. He's got a 10-game hitting streak.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
For dessert, you can add some of Tommy's cake.
Sure. If there's any left, Todd's been gone for a while.
This is on the ground to Seager at shortstop. That'll get the run in. Ahmed scores. 1-0 Diamondbacks. The RBI for AJ. And this is actually, they have been texting us pictures of the cake while we're working. They're eating cake. Todd was right. There's no blue in Tommy's cake.
Some kind of a Rorschach test? What was that? It kind of looked like a piece of cake that had been mangled. No fighting down there in the truck. Share.
Goldie struck out looking in his first at bat. Good job by the Diamondbacks. You get the Ahmed double. Owings moves him over, and AJ gets him in. Nick really having a nice strong finish at the plate to his season. He's looked really good here in September up at bat. Two and two.
I'm sure it's something Nick is looking forward to next season, to try to smooth out some of the peaks and valleys that he's gone through this season. There have been times when he's been an offensive threat. Obviously tremendous defensively on a daily basis, but then there have been times offensively when he's been invisible, and you'd like to find that middle ground. You don't have to be great every day, but you do have to contribute, help the team win ball games somehow, and he went through a couple stretches this season where it was really hard to make solid contact.
Well, he was at 130 for the year on May 11th, and then from that point he had a run of 50 games, during which he hit .305, and the batting average got up to just below .250. Goldie sends this to the right center field gap, but Van Slyke is there. Diamondbacks get the Ahmed double. Pollock the RBI. They lead it 1-0.
The American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces serving around the world on land and on ships at sea. We welcome you. We thank you for your service. Proud to have a group of wounded warriors here at Dodger Stadium tonight enjoying the ball game.
Yeah, one of them is the veteran Brian Nordgaard. And Brian, we're thrilled to have you here with us at the ballpark today, the nephew of Betty Lavoie. And so thanks to all our servicemen and women here with us tonight. A.J. Ellis, the Dodger catcher, leads off the fourth. Ellis popped up with the bases loaded to win the first.
Sure, that was a pretty close pitch right there. Even if it's off the plate, that's another good job of Robbie Ray staying on top of the ball, getting that downward plane going. Very tough to square that ball up when you're pounding away at the bottom of the zone the way Robbie's been tonight. Yeah, where's that? That was pitch number 3.
That is perfect location, just what you're looking for.
Did I not tell you last night before we left the ballpark? With Hunter Wendelstedt behind the plate, there will be pitches that go right down the middle of the plate, right at the middle of the thighs, that will be called balls. It's kind of a crapshoot.
Ahmed at shortstop. Run away. Talking to Chip Hale before the ball game today, and we've talked a lot about Robbie's slider and his changeup and how those mix in with a guy who is primarily 80-85% fastball. And Chip said the coaches with Robbie really rely on the catcher to direct him when he's out there, and it might be the catcher night to night leading him in different directions with the pitch selecting, depending on what's working on a given night. The coaches all year really have preached balance with Robbie's pitch selection, less reliant on the fastball. We've talked about this, more sliders, more changeups. And Chip said tonight they would love to see Robbie throw early count breaking balls and changeups, but most nights, Bobby says, it's really up to the catcher to identify what's working best that night and then call pitches based on that. There's a pop-up. Drury might have room in foul ground. Brandon Drury, not quite tall enough. So Salty is really running the show back there. I suppose you could say that for just about any pitcher, but it might be especially true in Robbie's case.
I think you're absolutely right in Robbie's case. His slider and his changeup can be really effective pitches. Brandon Drury gives it a heck of an effort over there at the retaining wall. But fastball command starts everything for Robbie Ray. If he's able to spot that fastball on both sides of the plate, he's not afraid to pitch inside to right-handed hitters. If he's able to get some strikes on that inside corner, that makes that slider even more effective.
That's a great stat right there for Robbie.
If he's able to throw that fastball to the outside corner, that makes his changeup more effective when he throws it out there in that same location.
Izzy singled his first up tonight to lead off the second. One misses away at 95. Full count, 3-2. So he's gone 3-2 to both hitters so far here in the fourth. Guerrero on deck. Robbie Ray, that's 6 strikeouts. 2 down.
Number 7.
Either Robbie's really feeling it tonight or they have a hot gun here at Dodger Stadium. He has consistently been mid to upper 90s with that fastball tonight.
Talk about mixing it up. 3 strikeouts with a fastball and 3 with the slider. He's hit 96. Alex Guerrero, the third baseman, struck out looking his first time up. He did not go. Marvin Hudson at first.
Close, a lot closer than it looked with the naked eye.
Boy, he is really tying him up inside.
Carving him up with that fastball in. This one as a hitter, you start that bat and then you go, oh no, he's going to break it.
This is from the Patrick Corbin school of pitching to right-hand hitters for a lefty. Shoots it down the right field line, but foul. Patrick, we've seen him do that forever, it seems like. Just come in on right-hand hitters. Locking them up with that fastball slider combo. There's Patrick. He will start Thursday's day game against Clayton Kershaw. How's that for a matchup of lefties? Patrick continues looking better and better in the comeback from Tommy John. Another 2-2 to Alex Guerrero. This is really the first time tonight we've seen Robbie have this problem that's plagued him all year, putting guys away with 2 strikes. Who wants it? Find a kid. Had only 4 2-strike foul balls all night before this at bat. He's got 3 so far here against Guerrero, and he's gone full on the third hitter in this inning. Lost him. Second walk issued by Robbie Ray.
57.
A great example, Bob, of the importance of putting guys away with 2 strikes, because think about all the extra pitches he just threw there, and now he's got to throw more to deal with Alex Wood.
They tend to add up. You don't realize it unless you're sitting here putting a tally mark for every pitch and every foul ball. But yeah, one lengthy at bat like that with a few foul balls mixed in on the 2-strike count, ultimately a ball 4. Now you got to start all over on the next batter.
Do that 2-3 times over the course of a ball game. That's 15-20 extra pitches. Oh, and 2. Hopefully only 3 more in this case. There it is. 7th strikeout for Robbie Ray. He rings up Wood, strands the 2-out walk, and keeps it a 1-0 Diamondback lead. Here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. We'll see Osmani Tomas in the D-backs fifth. Win in this ballpark this year. Last night, trying to make it 2 in a row. They lead the Dodgers and lefty Alex Wood 1-0. Nick Ahmed, a leadoff double in the 4th. Came in from 3rd on an A.J. Pollock ground out for the game's only run. Jared Saltalamacchia, Yasmani Tomas, and David Peralta 5, 6, and 7 in the Diamondback 5th. Hey fans, while we have a moment, let's remind you now is the time. Tweet us your strongest fan photo. Use the hashtag AZDataStrongFan on the Twitter with the whole thing, and you might see yourself in an upcoming Diamondback broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. So Salty leads it off against Don Mattingly's Dodgers here in the 5th. 1-2-1 for the Diamondbacks, 0-3-0 for the Dodgers. And Alex Wood right at 50 pitches, 32 strikes. Salty grounded out his first time up. We have a special treat coming up in this half inning.
Not more Tommy Cake.
No, it's all gone.
Okay.
So there's none left. We're going to have a little fun with David Peralta. He's due up 3rd in the inning, so stand by for that. There's David. Slow roller. That's going to stay fair. And Gonzalez backhands it for the first out. Of course, David has what's become a signature batting stance. He does that thing where he kind of leans back and kisses the palm of his hand in that freight train shirt that he had made up, or his agent did. He's striking that pose on the front of the shirt next to the freight train with the number 6 on it. It's become a signature Peralta trademark. And we thought, well, since David's batting in this inning, and we have the batting stance guy, Gar Rines, behind the dugout, why not do a little comparative analysis? So that's coming up next. Having already seen his outstanding Bob Brenly imitation. Tomas singled his first time up, but tried to stretch it into 2 and was thrown out to end the second. This is Gar Rines doing David Peralta. There is the signature move. Faces a fastball there. So let's see how this works.
Number 6, David Peralta.
The lean, the kiss, and then the waggle. There it is. Reaches out and just flicks the bat at that one. Seager with a shift on. One more look at Gar Rines, batting stance guy. He's all over the interweb. Doing his David Peralta right there. Bottom 5 coming up. Diamondbacks lead the Dodgers 1-0. Strikeouts in a game is 8. He's done that a number of times this year. He's got 7 so far, as Justin Ruggiano leads off the LA fifth. Robbie Ray so far has given up only 3 hits. He's walked 2, struck out 7. Ruggiano has singled and punched out, 1 for 2.
Yeah, you look at the 2 walks. One of them was an intentional pass to Corey Seager to get after A.J. Ellis. He was able to get him to pop up to short to end the inning, and then he walked Alex Guerrero, the number 8 hitter, with 2 outs in the inning, and promptly struck out Alex Wood on 3 pitches. So strategic walks.
And he's been fairly efficient tonight. 81 pitches, 51 strikes. 2-2. This looks like the Robbie Ray we saw before the All-Star break. This is the way he pitched most times out. Way up in the air, right center field. Should be playable for Pollock. And he's got it on the warning track for the first out here in the 5th.
Second baseman, Howie Kendrick.
Howie Kendrick. Reached on a Goldie error at first. It was a tricky backhand play that bounced off Goldie's glove, struck out his last time up. Yeah, Robbie's ahead 0-1. That was the first fly ball out recorded by a Diamondback outfielder tonight. How about that? Yes. Kept it on the ground, and he's got the strikeout pitch working. Ahead of Howie Kendrick, 0-2. Drives it to center. And AJ's there.
First baseman, Adrian Gonzalez.
Good positioning that time by the D-backs outfield. Right before that last delivery to Howie Kendrick, AJ moved about 4 or 5 steps over into the gap in right center field. And getting some directions from the bench. You see him moving over toward the gap in right center. He calls David Peralta over with him. And sure enough, Howie Kendrick hits it right where AJ was positioned.
And now AJ will shade toward left center field with Gonzalez up there. He hit it right to the spot, didn't he?
Yeah, he really did. I mean, Howie Kendrick, for me, is an opposite field hitter to begin with. But especially when he's behind in the count, he's really going to look to drive the ball the other way. And AJ went from almost a straight up position to 6 or 7 steps into the gap in right center, and Kendrick hit it right to him. Moving Yasmani over closer to the right field line. He moves over himself into the right center field gap and calls David Peralta over into the left center field gap. If he hits one down the left field line, you just tip your cap, give him a double.
Well, if Gonzalez hits one to the left field line here, he can run for a week. The shift is on. And he hits right into it. Goldie, the backhand stop. Robbie Ray is there. And that's the end of the inning. We are through 5. It's 1-0 D-backs. Your Arizona Tire Pros is giving away 4 tires, free oil changes for a year, and an Apple iPad. You can register in-store or online at ArizonaTirePros.com for your chance to win with the pros. 6th inning, Dodger Stadium. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly, and Todd Walsh here. D-backs lead at 1-0. The pitchers duel, Robbie Ray and Alex Wood, couple of left-handers, and Brandon Drury. And there tonight again at third will lead off the Diamondbacks 6th. I see Tony Hale from Veep has a gift, and the back of that is a Chip Hale jersey.
How about that?
Tony threw out the first pitch. He, of course, won an Emmy as Gary the Bagman on the HBO show Veep. And I'm told by Gar Inez that after the Dodgers made the last out in one of the previous innings, Chip looked up and saw a Hale Dodgers jersey and said, well, we got to fix that. You need a Hale D-backs jersey. So now the actor Tony Hale has a Chip Hale jersey. Nice job. Just got to get him to wear it. Taking pictures down there. Hale and Hale. Howie Kendrick.
It's a nice coincidence. It covers one wall in his office anyway.
I think Tony's daughter's going to keep that one. Oh, I got it. He just texted me a picture. I'm going to get it up there. Robbie Ray.
Robbie trying to do his job, see as many pitches as possible here in this at bat. That was fast.
Take a look at our Chevron upcoming pitching matchup. Diamondback Live pregame show at 6:30 here on Fox Sports Arizona. Chase Anderson back in the rotation. And he'll face Zach Greinke. So finally we play the Dodgers and we get the dreaded two-headed monster.
Yeah, we've been really fortunate this year to miss one or both of the aces almost every time we played the Dodgers.
Yeah, Greinke tomorrow night and then Kershaw Thursday afternoon. Here's Nick Ahmed, doubled and scored the game's only run his last time up.
That's what one hard hit ball in a game will do. Nick Ahmed scorched a double down into the left field corner his last time at the plate, and so far he hasn't seen a fastball in this at bat. Another changeup.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
3 changeups and a breaking ball in this sequence.
It's full. Got him. A matchup of lefties here in L.A. Alex Wood, Robbie Ray. So far, it's 1-0 Diamondbacks. Pirates and Cubs. Then the Brewers take on the Central leading Cardinals in a game you can only see on FS1. Coverage starts Saturday at 9:30 on Fox and continues at 3:30 on FS1. Scott Van Slyke leads off the Dodgers' 6th against Robbie Ray. And Slyke has struck out and singled. He's got one of the 3 Dodger hits. On a play. Foul ground, playable for Goldie.
A one-run ball game, or a scoreless game for that matter, any kind of a tie game, close ball game, that leadoff man in the inning is so vitally important. You retire that guy, it really limits what that opposing offense can do.
Chip told us before the game today that Robbie Ray, he could get a pitch count of 110 to 115. They want him to throw that many. They want him to get deep into the ball game here, and he certainly looks like he's got a chance to get through at least 6. Corey Seager walked intentionally, grounded out his last time up. Robbie has lasted more than 5 innings, only 4 times in his last 12 starts, but he has been terrific here tonight. He beat the Dodgers 2 starts ago. That was September 11th at Chase Field. Allowed only 2 hits in that start, but had 3 walks and was only able to get through 5 innings. Needed 95 pitches to get through 5. And clearly much better here tonight. Right back to the mound. Robbie reaches up and snags it. 2 down.
Way to field your position. Little comeback hopper back toward the mound. Robbie's able to close up. Plenty of time to throw on to first for the out right there.
A.J. Ellis. The Dodgers watching the scoreboard. They're still talking about magic numbers. The magic number for clinching the NL West remains at 7 with 13 to play. And everybody here watching the Giants, who are at Petco Park, San Diego. No score right now, 4th inning. L.A. has lost 3 straight. 4 losses in a row would match their longest losing streak of the year.
Giants Padres game, only 1 base hit combined so far in the top of the 5th inning. Yangervis Solarte with the only base hit in that ball game.
Robbie Ray, 100 pitches, 66 strikes. Ahead in the count again, 0-2. Slow roller. Ahmed took a little bit of a funny hop there for Nick, but Ellis, who does not run well at all, is out. So Robbie Ray, 6 scoreless innings. He's got a 1-0 lead.
Okay, well, he's kind of sticking it to me a little bit and stirring the pot. He thinks I'm a hoarder.
I'm not really in the category of ever being accused of being a hoarder. I kind of move on and go the next step.
You live in the moment.
I do indeed, and in the future, not in the past.
Okay, well, I just want you to know that tomorrow on Diamondbacks Live, we're going to move this bobblehead, or at least we're still pondering it. It's the Vin Scully bobblehead that we placed in the garage so many years ago.
Now, there's an enormous coincidence here, because tomorrow is Vin Scully bobblehead night. So you're giving away old bobbleheads. I'm calling you out.
Just be quiet, okay?
This is a scam. Ignore this whole segment. I'm going to Mike Wallace you right out of this booth.
My whole career is a scam.
Well, get in line.
Okay. In any event.
Seriously, you're moving old bobbleheads? The man's a Hall of Famer.
I understand.
It's like working at a 5 and dime store.
I just needed some sage advice, because you guys have been, you don't appreciate the artifacts of the bobblehead in the garage.
That's the new one. That's going to get handed out tomorrow.
And I'll give that out in 5 years. God willing, if I'm still here. Okay? That's how it works. This is economics.
He has to wait for the spring on the neck to go bad. Then he'll give it away.
That's right. The hand will be broken off.
But he's not a hoarder.
Vin said he looks to the present and the future, not the past.
I told you, I was looking for some advice. I got it.
What's he done in the past?
Resting on his laurels.
No, nothing. Yeah, no. Nothing at all.
Broadcast games at Ebbets Field.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Oh man.
Boy. When I left the booth, he said, "Good luck, kid."
Kid.
I'm like,
it's always nice.
Well, yeah. I'm Gray-haired.
Guerrero, tough play. Owings beats it out. CO's aboard. Well, we talked about Chris Owings hustling on a routine pop-up, and he was busting it up the line that time. Don Mattingly wants a moment.
Three steps before throwing on to first base for Guerrero.
Ooh, they got him.
Looked like it.
And the headsets are caught on. There's a full speed look.
On the field is under review.
Marvin Hudson, the first base umpire, and crew chief Hunter Wendelstedt, the plate umpire, will put on the headsets. It's another replay review brought to you by Mix One. I think the Blue Boys might have a case here.
Tip of the cap to CO once again for hustling down that first base line. Smelling infield hit all the way. Very nearly beat it out.
And you know, we've been over this 100 times, but it's important on this particular play. It is officially ruled a catch when the ball is in the back of the mitt, in the pocket of the mitt. A pretty quick review in New York. He is out at first, so the Dodgers win the challenge. 5-3 on the put out of Owens to open up the seventh.
You can see Guerrero spinning that ball to try to get a better grip before firing on to Adrian Gonzalez. That's about as close as it can get, but it looked like they got it right that time.
An updated look at the replay review standings brought to you by Mix One. A.J. Pollock. A.J. drove in the game's only run with an RBI ground out in the fourth after a Nick Ahmed double. And an Owens bunt had moved Ahmed along to third. And Robbie Ray has made that one-run stand. Robbie has been outstanding here tonight. He's given up only 3 hits, all singles. He's walked 2. He's got 7 strikeouts, and he's retired the last 7 he's faced. But he's at just over 100 pitches, 101 in fact. So he's right on the edge there. Drives it to center. Chris Heisey will watch it go. It's gone. It bounced up and it bounced over. And A.J. Pollock has his 18th home run. And the Diamondbacks have a 2-0 lead. And A.J.'s now hit safely in 11 straight. Just had enough on it to hop over the center field fence.
It says 395 on the wall out there in straightaway center field, and that's about exactly how far A.J. hit this one. Right off the top of the fence. Oh, popped straight up in the air and on the good side.
Alex Wood. And that's going to do it for the lefty. Alex Wood pitched a very good ball game here, but he will leave trailing 2-0 in the 7th. Diamondbacks have the lead in L.A. Back after this. Get more standard features for less money. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One. Great taste, no face, available at local retailers.
In L.A., Alex Wood outstanding in his previous start. That was last Wednesday here against the Rockies. Only 1 hit in 8 innings. He gave up only 3 hits through 6 1/3 here tonight. But the A.J. Pollock homer, the last batter he faces, down 2-0. And on from the Dodger bullpen, the right-hander Chris Hatcher, who was out 2 months earlier this year with a left oblique strain, came back the middle of last month, and he's been pretty good since. He'll work to Goldie here with a run in and 1 out. Wood needed just 78 pitches last time out against Colorado. He leaves this one after throwing 79 pitches.
How about this, partner? Since the D-backs beat him up a couple of starts ago, before the beginning of the 7th inning here. So he faced 2 batters. He got a ground ball by Owings to third base and then the home run by Pollock. But before that, since the whipping at Chase Field, he'd pitched 13 innings, given up 3 hits, 1 run, 9 strikeouts, no walks. Had thrown only 134 pitches to get through his 13 innings.
Keeps pitching like that, he's going to be their game 3 guy. Goldie gives it a ride, high and deep, right center field, and that ball is gone. The D-backs go back-to-back. That's 30 for Goldie, and it's 3-0 Diamondbacks.
Hold your breath on that one, only because Scott Van Slyke is so tall and has those long arms. Like he had a shot at this drive to right center field by Goldie. Got back to the barrier in pretty good shape. Just mistimed his jump a little bit right there. Just missed his glove on out of here. Back-to-back home runs for A.J. and Goldie.
One hopped the wall. The other just got over the 6'5" guy in right. 30 home runs for Goldie. 3-0 D-backs. Still 1 out. Multiple 30 home run seasons. Goldie, when he was the MVP runner-up 2 years ago, and now here in 2015. 1-1 on Salty, who's 0 for 2. Diamondbacks have just 4 hits tonight. 2 of them are homers. Two and 1. Well, Salty will switch and bat from the left-hand side of the plate now against the righty Hatcher. 6 of his 9 homers this year have come from the left-hand side of the plate. There's a strike, 2-2. More bad news for the Dodgers. The Giants lead in San Diego. Trevor Brown had the RBI double. Saltalamacchia strikes out. Hatcher gets the 2nd out in the 7th.
Hatcher throwing hard, 97 on that last fastball to Salty, but with a very smooth, fluid delivery. After watching Alex Wood through the first 6 innings plus of this ball game, this is like facing a pitching machine.
Tomas has singled and struck out. Yeah, Hatcher throws like it's one of those Swiss Army knives that you take apart. Tomas chases a fastball and strikes out. But Pollock and Goldie go back-to-back off 2 different pitchers. AJ his 18th off Wood. Goldie his 30th off Hatcher. And it's 3-0 Diamondbacks in L.A. Tremendous effort here for the young Diamondback lefty. He worked 6 scoreless innings, gave up only 3 hits, all singles, walked 2, had 7 strikeouts, and retired the final 7 he faced.
Perhaps as good as we've seen Robbie all year long. The fastball command was there for him all night long. Slider was good. He mixed in just enough change-ups to put the thought in the back of the Dodgers' mind, but really just attacked the bottom of the strike zone all night long.
And our Gila River game summary shows the Ahmed double and the A.J. Pollock RBI ground out in the 4th that made it 1-0. Robbie Ray made that 1-run stand up through 6. And the D-backs get 2 in the 7th on back-to-back homers by Pollock and Goldschmidt. And it's 3-0 as we start with Andrew Chafin in the home half of the 7th, his 61st appearance. Chris Heisey, the center fielder, leads it off. 7-8-9 due up in the LA 7th. Heisey has one of the 3 Dodger hits, a single in the 2nd. He's 1 for 2. One thing we didn't talk about there, and looking at Robbie Ray's night, was the pitch count. 101 pitches, 67 strikes. He was ahead in the count. 0-1, 0-2 oftentimes throughout the evening here. And what a night and day difference that is for Robbie. Chafin ahead of Heisey here, a ball and 2 strikes. You know, Mike Harkey was thrilled with what he saw tonight. Full count. Andrew Chafin came in and got a big out last night. A strikeout with 2 on and 1 out in the 6th. Hernandez came on, got another strikeout, and ended the Dodger threat. That's in the seats.
It seemed kind of odd on the surface to bring Andrew Chafin in to face a couple of right-handed batters to start this 7th inning, but Chafin's been very effective against righties this year, holding him to a .217 average. And he walks Heisey to start the inning. I think what that does also is, if you look ahead to that 9 spot in the lineup, the hitters that you want to avoid off that Dodger bench tonight are all left-handed. Crawford, Ethier, Utley, Jock Peterson, a guy with big-time power. The right-handed hitters don't scare you that much, so perhaps that's the reason Chafin's starting the inning here. Looking ahead to that 9 spot in the lineup.
Keep those lefties on the bench. Randall Delgado still throwing in the Diamondback bullpen. Here's Alex Guerrero. He has struck out and walked. Pitcher spot is up next, and I guess Mattingly's going to use the big guns for later in the ball game. Rookie catcher Austin Barnes is in the on-deck circle. Ahmed has got it. What a play! Nick Ahmed, he got him! Nick Ahmed, more Diamondback defense. And is Nick all right? He really laid out for that one. He made an impossible play.
It really hit hard when he landed right there. Almost a no-look throw. Chris Owings making like a first baseman there, stretching out just in time to get the out. What an amazing play right there.
He came down on that hip awfully hard. And Nick is limping around out there. Thumbs up. He's all right. He's walked it off. That was unbelievable. So they get the force on Heisey. Guerrero's aboard at first, 1 out. And Austin Barnes will hit for the pitcher. Barnes, .250 in 16 games with the Dodgers this year. He's had fewer than 30 plate appearances. Just recalled from the minors during the first week of September. Nick doesn't look like he's doing great down there. One and two.
Change up from Chafin, a pitch he rarely throws. Good one right there, though. Bounces it in the dirt right on the point of home plate. Gets a swing and a miss from Barnes.
Barnes has spent his entire year virtually at AAA Oklahoma City at .315 there with 9 homers. Gets a piece of that fastball.
I did not know this. Austin Barnes is the nephew of former Oakland A great Mike Gallego.
Oh, he's also an ASU Sun Devil, Austin Barnes. Mike Lego Gallego.
Cracked a rib on Mike Gallego's knee one time in a spring training game trying to break up a double play. Dummy. In spring training.
Well, in your defense, Mike Gallego was like 5 feet tall.
Yeah, I mean, he jumped as high as he could, and I still couldn't slide underneath him.
Austin Barnes out of Riverside, California, played at ASU, a 9th round pick by the Marlins in the draft 4 years ago. Dodgers got him in the D. Gordon deal. Back with you tomorrow on Fox Sports Arizona. Diamondback Live pregame show at 6:30. Game 3 of the 4-game series. Chase Anderson versus Zach Greinke. Corbin Kershaw Thursday. That's a day game. 12:10 first pitch. 3-2. Second 3-2 count in this inning for Andrew Chafin. Luciano, the leadoff man, on deck. Guerrero holds. Barnes hits it up near the Diamondback dugout. Goldie will give it a look, but it's out of play. That's a big smile right there.
I don't want to hold the ball up.
They drop it. Second walk in the inning issued by Andrew Chafin. And now he'll deal to the right-hand hitting Ruggiano, who's got real power. And this might be the time to go get Randall Delgado.
Now we'll probably see Andre Ethier or one of the other Dodger left-handed bats for Ruggiano in this situation. Ruggiano hasn't been here long, but there's a lot of speculation that the Dodgers are probably going to play a platoon in the outfield during the postseason with Ruggiano and Ethier, or Ruggiano and Carl Crawford, some combination of righty-lefty.
Been a very good right-hand bat for them. Long discussion here at the mound, and he's going to leave Andrew Chafin in. Well, hold on. Now it's time for a conversation with Hunter Wendelstedt. This might be about Nick Ahmed. Yep, yeah. Nick's going to come out of the ball game here, and he is not walking well at all. It's like something with that right hip. That's really where he came down hard on when he made that diving play. So Chafin will stay in the game, and we'll get a new shortstop as Nick Ahmed limps off here in L.A. Can't move, Nick says.
You saw Andrew Chafin say, "I'm fine."
Well, he was going to say that anyway. Jamie Romack is in there. He could be an option. Instead, it'll be Aaron Hill, and Aaron, I'm sure, will go to second base here. Let's see. We've got Owings at second. Ahmed comes out. And Aaron will take over at second base, so Chris Owings, it looks like, will move to shortstop.
Yeah, because of the interchangeable parts, you could put Aaron Hill at third, put Drury at second. You could have brought Goslin into the ballgame. A lot of different options. Romack, but looks like Aaron Hill's going to stay and play second base. Chris Owings moves over to short.
And Aaron has not been moving all that well with the hamstring that has been nagging him all this month. It's been better lately, but his mobility hasn't been terrific. So Hill at second and Owings at shortstop. Tying run at the plate in the seventh. One out. It's Ruggiano, who's got good power. Ruggiano singled to lead off the ball game. He's 1 for 3. Guerrero at second, Barnes at first. Big swing and a miss.
Ruggiano's tough to walk. He's only drawn 1 base on balls in 15 games now here with the Dodgers. Another good straight changeup from Andrew Chafin. Just have a good feel for that pitch tonight. We've seen him throw as many changeups already tonight as he usually does in a week of games.
Double play ball. Owings, Hill, they roll it. Andrew Chafin gets the 6-4-3. And that new middle infield combo immediately turns 2. And they keep it a 3-0 Diamondback lead.
That was the Cox Gigalife high-speed highlights. Chip Hale's Diamondbacks looking to make it 2 in a row here in L.A. And they lead it 3-0. David Peralta leads off the 8th against the new pitcher for the Dodgers. It's the lefty J.P. Howell. And the Dodgers have the shift on. Howell a 1.50 ERA in 60 appearances. David has hit .260 this year against left-hand pitching. That's a big improvement from last season. And Chip Hale was telling us today he hasn't put David Peralta in there against too many left-handed starting pitchers. He did tonight to give Ender Inciarte a day off. But he has left Peralta in over the course of the year against some very good lefty relievers like J.P. Howell. And the success David has had there, once a left-hander comes in, is sort of building that confidence level versus lefties as a whole. And Ender did not get the start tonight. Chip wanted to make sure that each one of those left-hand hitting outfielders got a day off in this series. And so Ender is not in the starting lineup. 3-2. Brandon Drury on deck, pitcher spot after that. Peralta, another base hit off a lefty. Ruggiano kicks it around out there. Peralta will hold it first, a leadoff single in the 8th.
Wow, that ball was absolutely smoked to left field. Great approach by David. That's why he's getting more and more at bats against left-handed pitching. Driving the bus out the side window that time. Pitch elevated and absolutely handcuffs Ruggiano out there in left field. He had to play it off his chest. Wow.
Peralta hitting .370 since the All-Star break. That is second best in the National League behind only Joey Votto. Long conference now at the Dodger mound. Drury is the batter. Jamie Romack has a bat. He's in the on-deck circle.
I'm assuming this is just a stalling tactic here. Dodgers once again caught by surprise.
Well, there is a right-hander hurriedly throwing in their bullpen. Looks like Emi Garcia down there. It does seem to happen quite a bit in this ballpark. So Romack would hit for the pitcher. Drury now after Peralta's leadoff single. Brandon 0 for 2 so far. He's twice grounded out. Brandon coming off his 3 for 5 last night, a double and an RBI. Another start in there at third tonight against the left-hander Alex Wood. And now up there against another lefty here in J.P. Howell. He'll face one more lefty in this series. He's pretty good. Kershaw goes Thursday afternoon.
Not sure if Kershaw's talking about his own batting stance or talking about Jock Peterson's. Maybe somebody on the Diamondbacks. Not quite sure.
Well, they're not talking about shaving. There's Gar S, batting stance guy. Should consult him. Gave us an outstanding Bob Brenly earlier. And a pretty good David Peralta. And Tony Hale, the actor from Veep who plays Gary on the HBO show Veep. His last name is Hale. Chip saw that, gave him one of his jerseys. If you're going to have Hale on the back of a jersey, it's got to be a D-backs jersey.
So there's the picture that Gar sent us, sitting right behind the D-back dugout. Nice job by A.J. Ellis to keep that ball in front of him.
Went down to a knee just in case there was a throw to second base. He wanted to get out of A.J. Ellis's way, but David Peralta wasn't going anywhere.
A ball and 2 strikes. Other one's in the dirt. Drury not chasing here. He's back even 2-2. Talking to a scout that watched Brandon Drury in the Cal League when he was at Visalia before the game today. He said he watched a lot of Brandon Drury scouting that league, and he would come up here and just rifle shots into the gaps. And he said that guy is going to hit 40 doubles in the big leagues soon. And it was a scout from another team, not the Diamondbacks. Two and two.
We've talked about Drury since his recall here to the major leagues. Very uncomplicated setup in that right-handed batter's box. Very square. There's no open stance, no closed stance. Pretty squared up. Not a lot of wasted movement. Just looks for the pitch and then drives that bat quickly into the hitting zone.
You know what? There's a hint of. There's a little, I might be off on this, but there's a little Chipper Jones in there. Now, Chipper was a switch hitter, but just the way that they kind of move at the plate, the stance. I have to consult with Gar INS on this, but just a hint of Chipper Jones in there. 3-2. Diamondback Live. Todd Walsh will be giving stuff away after the ball game. Old bobbleheads. Make room for the new ones. Use drum sets. You never know. 3-2. There it is. He knocks it into left. A base hit for Drury. Boy, the more you see of this young man, the more you like.
And he's very patient, you know, for a young hitter to wait for a hittable pitch in an at-bat. That's a pretty impressive trait. It would be very easy to come into the ballpark where he grew up watching games and want to put on a show for friends and family and swing at anything close to the zone, but that time waited till he got a pitch up around belt high and just ripped it into left field.
Well, Jamie Romack was just announced as the pinch hitter. Here comes Rick Honeycutt, the pitching coach, and of course, you've got the lefty out there in Howell. We'll see if this is just a move to buy some time. They've had the right-hander warming up. Take a look at our State Farm report of the game. The year that Jamie Romack had, 29-year-old. Of course, he played with the Dodgers last year, briefly. 15 games with L.A. last season, but spent most of this year playing for Phil Nevin at AAA Reno and put up some very impressive numbers. 27 homers, 42 doubles, 100 RBIs. Romack announced as the hitter in the pitcher's spot. Blake Lamb was getting ready in case Don Mattingly countered with his right-hander, but it looks like he's going to let Howell face Romack. Three for 13 with the D-backs this year. Peralta, the runner at second. Drury at first. Swing and a miss. Jamie Romack was signed by the D-backs in November. Handful of games with the Dodgers last year. Played a couple of starts in right field with LA. Played mostly third base at Reno this year. 0-2. Jamie didn't have a lot of luck here. He was 1 for 21 at the plate as a Dodger last season. Giants now lead 2-0 in San Diego, 6th inning at Petco Park. Dodgers' magic number for clinching the division is 7 with 13 to play. 1-2 on Romack. LA has lost 3 straight. A loss tonight would be 4. That would match their longest losing streak this year and earn the Diamondbacks no worse than a split in this 4-game series, after taking 2 of 3 in San Francisco to open up this long road trip. Jamie hanging in there. He's back even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. There go the runners, and they were ready for that one. Peralta's erased, Drury in at second, and that's the first out in the 8th.
Now that inside move to second base, if you have any suspicion that that runner might be trying to time your delivery and take off for third, that's a good weapon to defend against that.
Well, if you're scoring at home, you can write RD for rundown, like my partner does, or you could write caught stealing 1546 on the putout. That's the official count. Jamie Romack, who was down quickly 0-2, now has a full count. J.P. Howell has gone full on all 3 batters he's faced in this inning. Aaron Hill, who replaced Nick Ahmed in the infield after Nick had to leave with an injury, will bat in Nick's spot, leadoff man in the order. He's on deck. They're saying it's a jammed lower back for Nick Ahmed, a jammed lower back. That's the word from the D-backs clubhouse. And how about that at bat by Jamie Romack? From 0-2 to ball 4. And Howell, 19 pitches, more balls than strikes. That's going to be it. Diamondbacks lead 3-0 and threatening more in the 8th. Back after this.
Pictures Goosebumps in theaters October 16th. By Phoenix International Raceway. Join PIR on November 15th for NASCAR. Visit us at phoenixraceway.com and get your tickets now. And by Sony Pictures Hotel Transylvania 2 in theaters September 25th.
Todd Walsh back here at Dodger Stadium. And guys, if I could just chase the Brandon Drury conversation that you had, it was interesting. I talked to his hitting coach, Turner Ward, today, Bob. He talked about his style in the batter's box. Turner described that as hitterish. And I asked him, what in the world does hitterish mean? He said, it's the edge that he projects to the other team when he gets in the plate. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's there. It's all business. In Turner's words, this is a guy that has no hobbies. It's just baseball. That sounds like a Tony La Russa kind of guy to me. But obviously, as we talked about earlier, making a very large statement near the end of the season. This dugout down here is alive, guys. I'll send it back upstairs to you.
Yeah, that was the word as Emi Garcia, the right-hander, comes in. Scoreless relief in his last 9 appearances. That was the word from the minors that Brandon Drury is, we've talked about this before, very serious about the way he approaches his profession. Aaron Hill came on in relief of Nick Ahmed, who was left with a jammed lower back after making a diving stop, one of the spectacular defensive plays we've seen all year. But Nick has had to leave the game, so Aaron Hill came in, took over at second base, and Chris Owings moved to short. Aaron had a double and a home run last night. Take a look at this play by Nick Ahmed. This was unbelievable. Just to get the force at second.
And once again, the tremendous body control. We've seen it on just about every play he makes in any direction, but the ability to grab that ball, laying on his stomach, and somehow turn and fire underneath his own body back to the bag for that force out. Just an amazing play.
It was a perfect throw.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Sensational. But jammed lower back is what we're hearing right now. 1-1 on Aaron Hill. Nick did not look great walking off the field. It was a very slow limp when he had to come out of the game. Chases a high fastball. 1-2. Daniel Hudson warming in the Diamondback bullpen. He came in last night for only 2 pitches. D-backs have out-hit the Dodgers 6-3. They lead at 3-0. Missed up and in. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Aaron last 24 games hitting .313 with 7 extra base hits. 2 more last night. Chris Owings on deck. He's got a chance to stay fair. Ellis and Gonzalez. Ellis in front of the dugout, but it's in the camera well. So is the catcher.
Quite a bit of foul territory behind home plate and down to the coaches' boxes in foul territory on both sides of the field. Ellis got to the little short wall right there about the same time the baseball did, just a little bit short. His feet slid right over the concrete down into the camera well.
Look at Gary. This is Gary's camera. Hey, Gary, nice job. Had it all the way. Oh, look at JR cowering in the corner.
Yeah, JR was telling me, you got plenty of room, plenty of room.
We see you in there. 2-2. Aaron Hill strikes out.
Before Chris Owings makes his way to the plate, let's take a look at our Geico This Day in Major League Baseball history, September 22nd, 1987. The Cubs send right-handed pitcher Dickie Knowles to the Tigers for a player to be named later, who 1 month later was Dickie Knowles.
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
He was traded basically for himself.
We'll give him. I guess it didn't work out.
Oh, yeah, the Cubs still feel they got fleeced.
Chris Owings. You know, there's a little superstition, Bob, involving our boy JR down there.
Yeah.
Because usually he's up here in the booth with us, but he was working with Todd down on the field yesterday, and then was scheduled to come up here tonight. But because we won last night with JR on the field, guess where he is again tonight? He's not leaving there. As long as we keep winning these games at Dodger Stadium, I mean, you might as well just find a cot or something, because that's where you're living. No, he doesn't want to talk. So we're going to keep him there and try and keep this winning streak going. 22. Plus, as Todd Walsh, tries to sell all his old stuff, JR fields phone calls and writes down orders.
Like QVC down there.
Yeah. We got new Vin Scully bobbleheads. We got to move these old ones. Spins Owings around. 2 balls and 2 strikes. We saw Ellis signal with that glove. He wanted it up, but that was up and in. .30 pitches for the Dodgers relievers in this inning. Howell and Al Garcia. Howell faced 3 hitters, went to 3-2 in every one, walked 1. Garcia has struck out Hill. Now he's 2-2 on Owings. Corey Spangenberg has homered for the Padres. 2-1 now. Giants lead at San Diego in the 7th. That is a foul ball.
Another This Day in Baseball history partner. Just down the press box here, Fernando Valenzuela became the first pitcher born in Mexico to win 20 games in the big leagues. That was back in 1986, a 9-2 win over the Astros at the Dome. He was 25 years old.
What a sensation he was. Garcia comes in, strikes out Hill and Owings, and they strand 2. Bottom 8 coming up. Daniel Hudson coming in. It's 3-0 Diamondbacks. October 3rd, D-backs and the Houston Astros. First 10,000 fans with us at Chase Field. Get this Los D-backs soccer jersey, courtesy of Pepsi. For tickets, just visit dbacks.com, and we'll see you there. Time for selfies.
It's always time for a selfie in L.A.
Oh, just one more for insurance. Daniel Hudson. He'll face the sharp end of the Dodger order here. Kendrick, Gonzalez, and Van Slyke, 2, 3, and 4 in the LA eighth. Howie Kendrick is 0 for 3.
Mentioned Daniel Hudson pitched in the ball game last night. Only 2/3 of an inning, got a line drive back to the mound, an easy fly ball to left field as Ender Inciarte takes over for Tomas in right.
He will bat in Tomas's spot, 6th in the Diamondback order. Buddy ahead 0-2. A.J. Pollock in that same spot, shaded toward right center. The spot that he moved to last time Kendrick was up, and Kendrick lined it right to him. There he is, center your screen.
Maybe a few steps deeper this time around, but yeah, in exactly the same vicinity he was when he caught the fly ball last time.
Daniel Hudson strikes out Kendrick to open up the 8th.
Took a changeup that time.
First baseman, number 23.
He got some big downward movement. Kendrick geared for that fastball in the upper 90s, way out in front of that straight changeup.
Wade Kendrick has been a tough out. He's hitting about .350 versus the D-backs this year, but he's 0 for 4 tonight with a pair of strikeouts. One down for Gonzalez, who's 0 for 3. .97 right by him. Gonzalez with a 7-game hit streak on the line, a double and a home run last night. Popped him up. Left side, Chris Owings. Hey fans, keep up with the pennant races in true HD quality on MLB.TV Premium. You can watch every out-of-market game live on more than 400 supported devices. You'll get real-time highlights, live look-ins, a pitch tracking widget, and a whole lot more. Just check out MLB.TV today. Don Mattingly going to the bench. Scott Van Slyke due up. Here's the left-hand hitting Carl Crawford. Crawford 263. He's got 4 homers. He was 1 for 5 with a single last night. Reaches out and rolls it to Goldie. The backhand stop. Huddy is there. And a tremendous job by Daniel Hudson. He got Kendrick, Gonzalez, and Crawford 1, 2, 3 in the 8th. We go to the 9th inning. It's 3-0 Diamondbacks.
Paul Goldschmidt, back-to-back homers off two different pitchers in the Diamondbacks' seventh. It was 1-0. They went to 3-0.
Doesn't get much cooler than that. Both of them measured perfectly. AJ's off the top of the fence. Goldie just enough to get it over the outstretched arm of Scott Van Slyke.
Changes for the Dodgers as we start the ninth. The veteran right-hander Jim Johnson is on. We saw him last night. He worked 1 inning through 16 pitches. Carl Crawford, who hit for Scott Van Slyke, remains in the ballgame. Crawford will take over in left field for Justin Ruggiano, and Ruggiano moves to right, replacing Van Slyke. So they had back-to-back homers in the seventh. Here they are in the ninth. A.J. Pollock, Paul Goldschmidt, and Jared Saltalamacchia due up 3, 4, and 5. A.J. drives the first pitch out to Ruggiano, and it drops in front. Guess what? A.J. Pollock's on base again. Stop me if you've heard that before.
Well, he's very comfortable in that leadoff spot, even though he's in the third spot in the lineup tonight, leading off the inning here in the ninth, and promptly gets himself on base ahead of Goldie and Salty.
There is Goldie. A home run his last time up was his 30th of the year. What a job by Daniel Hudson in that bottom of the 8th inning. Got 3 outs on 9 pitches. Kendrick, Gonzalez, and Crawford. Diamondback bullpen did a really good job last night in relief of Yolis Chacin, who got his first D-backs win, and so far Chafin and Hudson have kept the Dodgers off the scoreboard after Robbie Ray was outstanding. Strike one.
Yeah, with 3-0 lead in the ball game, maybe a chance for AJ to pick a pitch and take off for second base. Diamondbacks the only major league team this season with 3 players with 20 or more steals. AJ pacing the way with his 36.
I would love to see AJ get 40 doubles and 40 steals. He's got 37 doubles and 36 steals right now. Gonzalez holds him on the bag at first. 0-1 to Goldie. Brad Ziegler. Brad 19 pitches, worked 1 inning last night. Goldie, the home run swing in this ballpark. Counting tonight, he's played 8 games here this year. He's homered 4 times. Checking on that Giants score. They lead the Padres 4-1 at San Diego. Angel Pagan is homered for the Giants. Dodgers' magic number to clinch is 7 with 13 to play. To keep him at 7 there for a while.
Yeah, forever.
At least until Thursday. Missed upstairs, 2-2. Chase Anderson, Zach Greinke, Game 3 tomorrow night. Diamondback Live pregame show at 6:30 here on Fox Sports Arizona. Pollock takes off, and Goldie hits it right in the hole. Oh, just beautiful. And A.J. is in standing up at third.
I'll tell you what. If you host baseball clinics, clip off this tape. This is an absolutely perfectly executed hit and run. Second baseman covering the bag on the steal attempt. You see Kendrick evacuate his position, and Goldie hits it right where Kendrick was. Almost hit A.J. Pollock on that right heel. Just absolute perfection right there.
They're on the corners, nobody out. Pollock and Goldie now 2 hits each in both games of this series so far. Salty tonight, 0 for 3. Diamondbacks able to get 2 tack-on runs in the 9th last night. Trying to get some more here. Sky high along the left field line. Guerrero. Can he find it? Nope. That's a fair ball. And here comes Pollock. He will score. 4-0 Diamondbacks. It's an RBI single for Salty, who's driving the bus.
How about that?
Guerrero just never could find it.
Not too far underneath the ball, is tailing back toward the field of play and hits right on the, you can see the mark on the foul line right there.
Right field, number 5, Ender Inciarte.
Take a look, see where it hits.
Yeah. Any part of the ball hitting any part of the line, it's considered to be a fair ball once it passes the bases. Well placed.
Not the sexiest RBI single Salty will ever have, but it's effective. And here comes Mattingly. That's going to be it for Jim Johnson. Diamondbacks have added a run. They lead it 4-0. Back in a moment.
As new pitcher for the Dodgers.
October means baseball, and FS1 continues to be your home for postseason action with the American League Division and Championship Series. Don't miss a moment of the drama and the history. It all begins October 8th on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Just called up today from the minor leagues. It's the left-hander, Adam Liberatore. His 3rd stint with the Dodgers over the course of the year, back and forth from the minors, and he's in there to face Ender Inciarte. Diamondbacks have a run in the 9th, and still nobody out. Goldie is the runner at second, Salty at first. And Ender in there at 299. He's got 4 home runs. Tell you what, if you can get even one more run, maybe not even that, you could maybe give Brad Ziegler the night off after he worked last night. Josh Coleman warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. Guerrero went on the grass at 3rd. Ender squares to bunt up the first base line. It's a good one, and he will get there. And this time he stayed in the baseline. A base hit for Inciarte, a bunt single, and the bases are loaded.
And we flash back to the play last night where Hunter Wendelstedt, who was the first base umpire last night, ruled that Ender went outside the baseline. This time he stayed in the lines.
All right, once again, much like Chris Owings earlier in the ball game, a sacrifice bunt situation. Go ahead and try to bunt for a base hit. See if you can leg it out and move the runners up, and that's exactly what Ender does. Just avoids the tag of Adrian Gonzalez.
You know, Chip was funny before the game. He said, they asked him, what'd you say to Wendelstedt when he went out there to argue the out of the baseline call? And Chip said, well, I went out there and I yelled, he went out of the baseline, he avoided the tag. And Wendelstedt said, well, yeah, thanks, you're making my point for me. He did go out of the baseline. He's out. Infield in for the Dodgers. Roll to second. Kendrick coming home. They get one, and they can't get two. The force on Goldie at the plate is the first out here in the ninth.
Number 62, Brandon Drury.
David maybe a little overly aggressive there with runners in scoring position. Chased a slider away, cued it right off the end of the bat to Howie Kendrick. But able to leg out the relay throw onto first base. Diamondbacks still have him loaded with only one out.
And Brandon Drury at the plate. He singled his last time up. Chance for Brandon here after his 3 for 5 last night. Diamondbacks so far against LA relievers 7 for 12 with a homer and 6 singles. How's your bullpen, please, heading into October? That one gets behind Ellis. Here comes Saltalamacchia, and he's in there. 5-0 D-backs. Guess what?
Yeah.
It happened again.
The conspiracy lives on. Tacos!
Well, somebody will eat them.
Yeah, Diamondbacks with a 5 spot here. 3 crunchy beef tacos tomorrow between 4 and 6 with the purchase of a large drink at Taco Bell. Might have to be a pass ball on A.J. Ellis right there. The ball wasn't in the dirt. It was on the wrong side of the plate, but that's been ruled a wild pitch.
Yeah, not pass ball, wild pitch. Salty comes in. 1-1 on Drury. Infield still in for L.A. Brandon gets it in the air. High and deep to left center field, and there it goes. Brandon Drury, his first big league homer, is a 3-run shot, and it's 8-0 Diamondbacks.
He's not intimidated to play in this ballpark. That ball was smoked.
You saw him throw the souvenir back, if that is indeed the actual ball. Andy Green has it down the left field line. Let's see if we can do some detective work. Oftentimes fans in the bleachers will have spare ones to throw out as decoys. Phil Gosselin now. Gosselin hits for the pitcher. Brandon Drury, 3 for 5 in his first game at Dodger Stadium last night. Well, let's see. She had it. Uh-oh. Oh, boy. See, it could be any one of those. Typical Dodgers.
If it was a beach ball, they could tell you exactly which one it was.
I'm telling you, I don't think they're convinced in the dugout that that's the real ball. That's no ball. We want a real ball. 0-2 on Gosselin. Up the middle, Kendrick is there. 2 outs. Take a look at Patrick Corbin doing some detective work.
Second base number 2, Aaron Hill.
That can't be the ball.
Says Huntington Beach Little League on it.
Wait, Shecky Green, he's not the commissioner. That's the wrong signature. Nice job there. I guess they could just give Brandon the whole bucket. That's what they should do. It's in there somewhere. Go get the bucket. Come on. Apparently the folks behind the dugout are telling us that as soon as the ball went over the fence, Mark Grace looked at Salty and said, "You cost him a grand slam by coming in and scoring on the wild pitch. You screwed it all up." Brandon Drury, his first big league homer. It's in there somewhere. Keep looking. 8-0 D-backs in the ninth in L.A. Between innings. Is it this one? No. All right, how about this one? They're trying to get Brandon Drury's home run ball. She's insisting that's the one.
That's the one.
But now you got to get it by Patrick Corbin. He's the, for whatever reason, the judge on this. So they hustle the ball into the dugout, trying to get Brandon's first Major League homer, souvenir baseball. And once the bat boy finally gets into the dugout, Patrick Corbin gives it a look. And I'm not sure Patrick is convinced. Let's see.
As hard as that ball was hit, it should have a flat spot on
Corey Seager lines out to center to open up the ninth against the new pitcher Josh Clemencher. So here it is. Andy Green doesn't believe it either. I'm telling you, just go get the whole bucket. Let's see. Todd Walsh is down there, our intrepid reporter. Now, Todd, you have both baseballs, is that correct?
I do. The one here in the bottom of the palm of my hand. You see that? That's the first one. Patrick Corbin says no way. He's convinced that's a BP ball, and it sure looks like it. And then this is the second one. And again, not convinced. Nice scuff mark, though. You could probably make this thing dance if you want.
That one's not mudded up very well.
No, there's no Delaware River mud on either one of these. Not a chance.
Seriously, go down and just take the whole bucket.
Well, I'll just go out now.
It's fine. It's 8-0. What are they going to do? We'll send you some leftover cake from Tommy's birthday.
I think I know where those two illegal balls will end up.
In Todd's garage?
Yeah.
Hey. Now there's an idea.
It's not her fault. They're not trying to pick on her, but I mean, you know, it's needle in a haystack kind of a thing. How do you know which one? The fans, as promised earlier, it's the T-Mobile Data Strong fan photo. And the winner is Carla. with Gracie. That's not the young lady's fault. I'm not trying to give you that impression. So Scott Schebler will hit for Heisey. And there's Goldie, and the Diamondbacks have won back-to-back games here at Dodger Stadium. One of those guys may have it. They might have thrown a decoy ball out onto the field. Those are our suspects for the moment. If any of them have a baseball, let us know, because Brandon Drury would like it. 2 hours 55 minutes, and the Diamondbacks out-hit the Dodgers 11-3. They win it 8-0. Yeah, go get the whole bucket. There you go. It might not be any of them. Boy, Bob, Robbie Ray was terrific. The offense came through especially late. The bullpen did a great job. Nothing not to like here.
Nothing at all not to like, other than Nick Ahmed's injury. Hopefully nothing too serious, but other than that, just an outstanding ball game all the way around.
The D-backs, who snapped a 9-game losing streak at Dodger Stadium last night, dating back to last year, open up this 4-game visit with an 8-4 win and an 8